So, welcome to our item review for Hunters in Smite Patch 8.10. We will be starting, Hirez sort of decided that in order to make the other starters more viable, they thought they would nerf the leather and the Hunter's Cowl. So buying Hunter's Cowl now gives us 3% less physical lifesteal. Basically, you won't notice that at all. Like, literally, not at all. This doesn't even make a slight difference. The biggest change is actually the Hunter's Cowl. It's a bit more significant.
Do my daggers need sharpening?
So we have 5% less attack speed on the item itself, and then there's the aura effect, which also grants 5% less attack speed. So Hunter's Cowl is missing 10% attack speed. We can, if you want, do the very old build quick with Ikaval into Aussie. So then we would be sitting at 2.35 attack speed. And once we're near allies, let's move over here. We are at 2.5. Yeah, basically at 2.5 attack speed. But please keep in mind, we also get permanent attack speed from Charybdis passive, which is a total of increases up to 10%. So how many tide levels are this? 2% on tide. Yeah, so that's 10% attack speed base plus 0.75% per level, which is another 15% at level 20, plus 10%, it's 25%. But the point here is we're looking at leather cowl at Hunter's Cowl itself. So we're basically down 10% attack speed. That is basically just fine for those hunters with the high attack speed stims, such as Artemis, Ram. Maybe Hachiman, but Hachiman is actually also far off the 50 and 75% and 80% from the other hunters. There's also Izanami with a high attack speed stim, 75%, and those can technically hit along with Charybdis, like can hit the cap. Well, sort of. And everyone else is missing 10% now. It's not the biggest of all deals, but it's noticeable a little bit. The DPS didn't get nerfed drastically, but you notice a slight difference in DPS with 10% missing attack speed. So Hirez's idea was they created 3 other items a while ago. So their idea was that people could start with the Gilded Arrow, and then they would upgrade the Gilded Arrow into the Diamond Arrow. Let's go for it. So the Diamond Arrow provides us with 3 stacks. Each stack gives us 20% attack speed, and the stacks last for 8 seconds. These stacks are amassed by killing enemy gods or killing minions. To kill an enemy god, you get the 3 stacks right away. To kill a minion, then you need to kill 3 minions in order to get the 3 stacks. So this is just fine when you're sieging the enemy base. There's some team fighting going on, and there's also occasionally a minion wave where I could kill 3 minions quickly. But they actually just need to die close to you. So we can go back over here, and then let's hit the audience again. Of course, we need to stack the cover quick. So we are critting roughly for 900 damage now. Now we can go over to, let's just go over to the buff camp again, spawn the red camp so we can see more crit hits. So we are roughly critting for 900 damage. 1000 damage even. And we're also sitting at a attack speed cap. The problem is only we have no supplies of minions or camps at the neutral objectives. So we would be missing out on 60% attack speed while the passive is down due to having no no supply of minions, or we can't expect to get multiple god kills in quick succession to maintain the attack speed buff from Diamond Arrow. So while the item technically sounds great on paper with 80 basic attack damage and a 60% attack speed, you're going to have a hard time maintaining those stacks. Diamond Arrow is even the worst of all the free items basically for now, and since you only get an increase to your basic attack damage, not to your abilities as well. I guess this is due to other classes not utilizing these items as well, so they are restricted to hunters specifically. It's a bit beyond me why they can't just say, okay guys, we are restricting the items to hunters exclusively. But instead they had the idea to put 80 basic attack damage on that. But you're not just auto-attacking on you're not just auto-attacking on hunters, you're also using abilities, and most of these abilities also scale very well, so physical power buff would have been better. I also think what's a conversion rate? The conversion rate on Charybdis is 100% here. So yeah, it would be pretty much it would pretty much be the same as we would be slamming raw physical power on it, except that we are not buffing, that we are not getting benefit to our abilities. It's basically just basic attack, our auto attack damage that gets a benefit. And yeah, this is this is just not worth it. Since we're dealing a lot less damage to neutral objectives. And Yeah, that's basically not. Yeah, that's basically not what you want. So this is way too situational, like in yeah, in sieging scenarios. Yeah, it won't be that hard to keep the buff up. But once you're doing neutral objectives, then you're pretty much done. They can't maintain the stacks anymore. As you can see, we can greatly get the stacks going by hitting the camp, destroying the camp here. And we have last but not least the same issue with Death Temper.
Do my daggers need sharpening?
So this is 50 physical power, 30% attack speed, and the passive when an enemy or so when a minion or a enemy god dies within 80 units, we get one stack of temper. That's 3.5% increased basic attack damage for 10 seconds, which can stack 10 times. So we have 35% increased basic attack damage. This item adds 50 physical power to our basic attacks already, and 50 physical power to our to our abilities. And plus we get an additional 35% increase to basic attack damage. But once you drop the stacks, and that will be the case at neutral objectives, then you deal quite a significant amount less compared to the other stuff. While this item on the mathematical side provides the most damage of all items, when the stacks are gone, then it's actually inferior to Hunter's Cowl. And then you might lose, a team fight in the process, since you haven't maximized your damage output. So yeah, that's about that. So here's also my little rant, Hirez. If you want to make starter options, also items, more viable than others, or create more variety, specifically if you're talking variety, then please, for the love of God, instead of nerfing an existing item, look at the other two options and buff those to make them more attractive. First of all, they are still inferior to Hunter's Cowl, and second of all, have like zero incentive to go for Death's Temper or or Diamond Arrow. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't really doesn't add up. Basic attack focused hunters still do ability damage as well. I could probably look over the fact that it doesn't straight boost ability damage as well. But the problem is the stacking mechanics on both of these items. If that weren't stacks, or if those that were permanent stacks, yeah, then this could be considered. Of course, in case of Death Temper, the value for the permanent stacks would have to be adjusted to justify basically permanent stacks on this item, because then it would become way too powerful, and then we would be in the same situation with Death's temper being a lot better than Hunter's Cowl. And Diamond Arrow is pretty much in the same situation, except that we would have to also boost the basic attack damage modifier a little bit to, let's say, something like 100 or maybe 120. We would actually we would have to check that on one of their test systems. Unfortunately, we can't do that. We can't simulate the damage outcome with that being at 100 or 120 basic attack damage. But the point is, the problem is the passive on this item, why it's not really viable. And Death's Temper is the same deal. And the only item that still remains the go-to item for hunters is the Hunter's Cowl. It gives the most attack speed, and most importantly, it's permanent while you're near allies. It's 20% attack speed, plus you get another 15% right away. And yeah, this is unfortunately not the way to make to create more build variety or to make items more viable. Unless we are nerfing Hunter's Ground completely into the ground. Like, I don't know, maybe taking 30 to 40 physical power off. In that case, we could consider the other options, since they boost the base values. They would boost the base values a little bit better. Actually, a lot better. If this was missing 30 physical power. And it would sort of compensate for the missing attack speed, you know, harder hits. In pretty much the same time span. But unfortunately, that's in both cases. That's in both with both items not the case, so we can scrap this as well. So yeah. So Hirez, please look into these items, check, try something out, suggest some values, some reasonable values. You shouldn't overbuff these items either. Maybe make this permanent stacks and then just reduce the overall value. So I have to make a decision between this and that, but right now I don't have to make the decision. Right now I'll just grab Hunter's Cowl and then I'm fine. Alright, that's it, and see you next time.